Hello everyone, I'm Entom64.
And I am X-Gamer Richie.
And welcome to the HellfireComms playthrough of Bayonetta. Oh yes, Richie, today is finally the day. Oh my god, you're hyped for this.
I'm so hyped. I've been wanting this to happen for years and years and years and years and years. And it's finally happening, and oh my god.
Oh, what a perfect game to celebrate the 10th HFC anniversary with. That's right, we started in March 26, 2008. It's now March 26, 2018. So happy birthday, HFC.
Indeed, very happy birthday, HellfireComms. It's a wonderful thing to be celebrating, and I'm so glad that it gets to be this game.
Well, starting off on a bit of a morbid note here. Is this what we like to call in media res?
So this is the intro cutscene, which basically gives you a little bit of a gist behind some of the backstory to Bayonetta.
Ah.
And it's meant to be sort of very mysterious and so on and so forth. But I think it's really effective, and I just love this intro because it's just brilliant.
Now, I have played, I'd say, roughly about half of Bayonetta on stream before.
No, you have not played nearly half.
Oh, Jesus.
You played up to just the beginning of Chapter 5.
How many chapters are there again?
There are a grand total of 17 chapters.
Oh, jeez.
Excluding the prologue.
Well, okay, I did not play half of Bayonetta. Explain to us how we're going to be setting out this playthrough, because it is your show, after all.
Yes, so basically we're going to do this on a chapter-by-chapter basis, so there's going to be a part for every single chapter. This does mean that some parts will be very short. This means that some parts will be very long.
Oh.
So it's a balance. But either way, I'm just going to be hyped throughout all of it because this is easily one of my favourite games of all time, and I just adore it so much.
By Platinum Games, of course. I got a bit of an SA2 vibe there for a second. Like, you know, the ending, the last story preview, dreams are eternal.
Yeah, but this is easily one of my favourite gaming intros ever.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's just amazing. It's proper in medias res because you've got all of a sudden these two witches fighting on a falling clock tower, fighting angels. You've got an epic narrator going through all this stuff as you're just thrown into the chaos. And you've got just the most amazing piece of music, which is called One of a Kind. And it just makes me so happy. Just every time.
This is Bayo's stage in Smash, isn't it?
It is indeed, and it's because it's sort of really the iconic moment, or one of the iconic moments in the original Bayonetta. I mean, when they first revealed... So, when they did a first kind of teaser trailer for Bayonetta, all they showed off was basically her foot and her shooting, and it was very mysterious but quite interesting.
Right.
When they kind of properly revealed Bayonetta, it was in a sort of CGI trailer which was in this sort of setting, and that's sort of what really got me in the mind of wanting to get the game, because it was just like, this just seems so crazy and off the wall and fun, and I want to experience it.
I'm not sure which I prefer, this or Metal Gear Rising. I think, I don't know. I think I prefer Rising just because I like the character of Raiden, and also the OST kicks ass.
So, I would say that on the whole I much prefer Bayonetta, in part because I much prefer Bayonetta's combat. I think that the whole thing of witch time and the dodging is much more my scene than the parrying. So, for me, the combat's more fluid.
I have to say, I always liked how you were essentially playing as the bad guys, quote unquote. Like, normally in any kind of media, the witches are the evil ones, but here, it kind of flips it on its head and does the good is not nice sort of thing, with like the angels, the angelic choir, etc. That's cool, I like that.
Oh, definitely. It's a really cool shift in terms of the logic of most literature. Because, yeah, as you said, most times you see witches in any form of art or culture, they're the villains. But, and I mean, part of the whole marketing scheme that Sega, because Sega published the original game, went with was, it's never felt so good to be bad. And there was that whole sort of pretending to be the villain, but the world of Bayonetta is much more complex than that. There is no real good and bad, it's all two sides fighting for control, effectively, and nobody's really in the right and nobody's really in the wrong. So it's much more interesting in that respect.
So when did you first play Bayonetta, mate? Was it around launch, or did you pick it up afterwards?
It was around, well, it was on launch, effectively, so...
Wow.
When I'd seen the trailers and stuff, I knew I wanted to get this game. It was like one of those moments where you just go, yes, this is what I want. Which was strange because it was the first kind of mature game that I'd ever actually had any interest in. And I don't know exactly what did draw me to the game, but it just looked so much fun. And then I ended up, stupidly perhaps, watching an entire playthrough of the game when it came out in Japan it was around, I think it was December 2009?
Right.
Okay, October 2009, that was it, in Japan. It didn't come out in the rest of the world until early January 2010. And I actually got it for my birthday, and it was intended because I got like a special edition which came with one of Bayonetta's guns.
Ooh, nice.
And annoyingly, it took longer than, because it meant to turn up on January the 8th, which was the day after my birthday. But it didn't turn up until like January the 10th, so I had to wait longer, and it was just the worst wait imaginable.
Yeah, you kept that scar hidden deep within you, and now it's burst open, pus is flowing.
Exactly. So I was just super excited for it, and then I played through it and just had an absolute ball. And then basically Bayonetta's been probably one of the games that I've returned to the most throughout my entire YouTube career, because I did a playthrough of it not long after it came out, actually. I think it was probably that year, 2010. Then I returned to it after I'd gotten my hoppage and went HD, because I thought I want to do this better.
Right.
And that was my most complete run of the game that I'd done at that point. And so that's immediately 3 playthroughs of Bayonetta. And then I've done this one, which is my 4th. So...
I mean, like, your first foray into HFC, at least in terms of commentary, was a solo Bayonetta playthrough, wasn't it? It
was solo Bayonetta 2. And I mean, I'm still going to say, can we please do Bayonetta 2 in HellfireComms, but we'll get to the end of this one first.
Yeah, let's finish one game before we start another, but it's interesting you say you had such a fun time, even though you knew basically all the plot beats and the ins and out of the game. I'm trying to think of similar games that I've had as much fun with. I think Birth by Sleep might be one, actually, because I knew all the spoilers going in, and I still found it to be the best Kingdom Hearts game I'd played up until then.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I didn't actually know anything that was going to happen in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep when I played it, so that was quite a fun experience for me. It doesn't happen often. I suppose Wonderful 101 is an example where... Well, no, I didn't know any of that before I went into it. I can't think of any examples, actually.
Well, before we get sidetracked, shall we talk a little bit about the voice cast of the game?
Yes, so I mean, there's a whole weird thing that went on with the voice cast in the original game. Hideki Kamiya, and he has admitted this, and I can't remember whether he actually admitted it to me in a tweet, because I asked him. I asked him a few questions, it was quite fun, but they just forgot to put them in the credits. Which is not fun. They are now in the credits.
Yeah, that's such a Kamiya thing to do. There's like, whoopsie doodle, I forgot.
I think part of it might have been because there was a whole... So there's a little girl in the cast, and she's the only one who doesn't have a credit, and that's because her parents didn't want her to be credited in the game.
Okay.
So my guess is that it might not necessarily have been forgotten. It might have been they thought, well, we can't credit her, so we'll just not credit anyone, and then that'll be fine. But that did cause a few confusions in terms of some of the voice actors. But the ones that... Well, one of the ones who we've known pretty much all the time is Helena Taylor as Bayonetta. And she's just amazing. She's got just an awesome voice.
She's wonderful, yeah. Pretty much every Bayo thing I've seen her in.
Yeah, she's just spectacular. And I mean, she's not necessarily done a whole lot outside of Bayonetta. but she's brilliant. Enzo, who's the sort of fat lad, is voiced by Chick Venera, who I think is quite a relatively famous voice actor. He was Pesto in the Animaniacs and various other things, but obviously he's got that whole Joe Pesci sound.
I was gonna say, yeah.
So I think he sort of might be generally seen as a Joe Pesci, not necessarily impersonator, but he's got that vibe to him, and it works beautifully.
It's a homage, I believe. Also, is Bayo cosplaying as a nun here? She turned over a new leaf? What's going on?
So, in order to bring the angels that she must defeat, she holds these funerals, effectively, to call them out, and then she uses that opportunity to wreak havoc.
The staging of these cutscenes is amazing. Like, to put it in really bland, simplistic terms, very cinematic.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's really cool also because one of the things because Platinum Games did a blog about the development of Bayonetta, and one of the things that, I can't remember I'm going to see if I can find it, the cinematic director, can show me? No, it's not. But the person who did the cinematography for the game basically filmed live with actors, like some of the key action scenes, to get the cuts and the feel for it, and then they transferred that into the game. So it's just done really, really smoothly and technically brilliantly.
Yeah, I was going to say, it feels a bit like mocap. Don't the Devil May Cry actors do a similar thing?
Yes, I think so. I mean, quite a few bits of this are motion captured. I mean, I've got a few little fun anecdotes of elements of... a few elements that were ad-libbed in the motion capture moments, so there's a few fun bits. But yes, this is Rodan.
Fuck yeah.
And he's just an absolute badass.
He's our shopkeep for the game, I believe.
Yes, he is indeed. And he's voiced by the amazing Dave Fennoy, who has done quite a few voice roles over the years. I mean, I'm trying to find any that would be particularly known to people. So he's Overload in Transformers Robots in Disguise. He's Lee Everett in The Walking Dead. Is it Traveller's Tales?
Yes it is. I know exactly who you mean now.
Yeah, so he's just got a really brilliantly deep voice. It's great. And yes, this is one of those moments where you just go, oh, it's that type of game. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's definitely a Kamiya tile, alright. He likes his boobs and he likes his gun, so let's do this shit. It's witch time.
Oh god, yes. I mean, I have to say, I have loved pretty much every game that Hideki Kamiya has directed. Like, he's easily my favourite video game director out there.
Yeah.
Because even though he has a few quirks, shall we say, he really knows how to create a really satisfying package and narrative flow, and yeah, he's just without a doubt one of my favourite directors ever. And I mean, the fact that we've got a J-pop version of Fly Me to the Moon, I mean, just what the hell, and I love it.
Is this J-pop or would it be like dance or something?
This would be... J-pop jazz, I suppose?
Sure, why not? Yeah, I think you used that exact term when we were discussing, like, setting up the playthrough during, Super Mario Odyssey.
Yes, it's... Bayonetta's got a really quirky sense of style. I mean, you can probably already tell that.
yeah, just give her a second and she'll be using one of these cherub poles. Yeah, there you go, as a stripper pole. But that's the thing about Bayonetta. Like, I guess around the time she came out, there was, like, tons of sexualized female characters
yes.
in video games. And not to get a bit too SJW on you, for lack of a better term, but a lot of it was for the titillation of the player.
Yes.
And there's a certain level of that with Bayonetta, but I think the reason she stood the test of time is she's always in control. There's
Yes.
never, like, a man or anything taking advantage of her. She always has the power, and that's what makes her endearing.
Exactly. The whole thing behind Bayonetta's sexiness is her. She puts that forward herself, she uses that, and she revels in it. And it's part of why I think there is actually a lot of debate about whether Bayonetta is sort of a feminist icon type thing, because she does walk that very fine line between being body positive, sex positive, and being, you know, meant to be for titillation. But then you've got the argument of Bayonetta's character design was designed by a woman. I believe it's Mari Shimazaki or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And really, some of the earlier designs for Bayonetta before they kind of finally settled on this one were a lot more sexualized and stuff, because the whole thing of Bayonetta's design is that it's very much based on fashion artwork.
Ah.
So that's why she's so incredibly long-limbed, is because she's based on those sort of, that typical fashion sketch type thing.
Yeah, she won't look out of place in JoJo, I'm gonna be honest.
Yes! But yeah, the gameplay of Bayonetta is probably the thing that most people would say you come to Bayonetta for. It's just really satisfying. It's that mix of Devil May Cry with something sort of all its own, and the key is the witch time. Because it's all about dodging, and dodging at the right time to activate witch time, which then slows down enemies and allows you to get in extra hits. And the whole point of the game is to try and basically murder angels and get the highest combo points possible. And the best way of doing that is by going into witch time, because that increases your combo points.
So, what level of skill are we to expect during this playthrough, mate? Platinum? Pure Platinum? A level above Pure Platinum?
Well, there's no level above Pure Platinum, but you're gonna see throughout this playthrough a Platinum standard of gameplay.
Nice.
I'm not good enough to get Pure Platinum. You've got to be very on the ball, because the only way of getting Pure Platinum is to Pure Platinum every single verse in the game, because the game's split up into chapters, which are then split up into verses. So the chapters are the overall levels, the verses are the singular battles within those chapters.
Right. I do like how the whole thing's kind of set up like a book. Like you said, you've got chapters,
Yes.
you've got verses. When new enemies appear, it's like, oh, you turn the page of the encyclopedia and it tells you what they're called.
Exactly, and it's just really effective as a kind of level structure, because then you always know, okay, I did well on this particular verse, but I didn't do so well on this verse, therefore I know what I've got to try and improve as I progress through the game.
Was that a torture attack or just a finisher, mate?
No, that was a punish attack.
Okay.
So we will get introduced to the torture attacks in a bit, but Bayonetta's not got the full amount of her moveset at present. I mean, she can't even actually shoot things at the minute, which I found quite frustrating, because I'm used to just shooting and so on and so forth, because that's how you really do keep your combos up.
Uh-huh.
But we're going to get that now, and it is nice because obviously they throw you completely in the deep end in the first bit, the Records of Time, where you've got One of a Kind playing, where you've got everything and it's just chaos.
Yeah.
But then they slowly but surely teach you all of the different elements of the combat in this prologue, and it's a very effective way of teaching you.
Oh god, it's so fucking stylish.
I know, it's just amazing. The annoying thing is the bullet climax isn't actually all that helpful.
Aww.
But it is fun to do.
How easy would you say it is to target and stay locked onto an enemy while all the chaos is going on around you, mate?
So generally it's pretty easy, because Bayonetta's got pretty decent targeting.
Uh-huh.
You don't well, the majority of the game I don't actually ever use the lock-on feature. It's present, but I never use it because you're generally always relatively close to enemies, and you want to have the flexibility of being able to move around them and maybe change your targets as you're going through battle. So I'm much more fluid with it, and I think pretty much every high-level Bayonetta player would tell you the same.
Oh, Enzo, just hiding like a schmuck while something from, well, not hell, comes to abduct you. Bayo, you might want to get on it.
Yeah, and it's something from Paradiso, because that is an angel, and the angels originate from Paradiso. We're going to get the entire structure of the world in Bayonetta, the Trinity of Realities, but I'll leave that for Rodan to go over, because he's got a much more effective way of explaining it.
Okay. Oh, Bear. Even when you're trying to help, you still cause destruction and mayhem. Oh well, let's dance.
Of course! As long as there's music, I'll keep on dancing. And yeah, one of the things that you'll probably notice as I do this playthrough is I'm going to end up ever so slightly going into a Bayonetta tone of voice every now and again. Basically, I would say that I really do put Bayonetta as opening up the slightly more sadistic side of my personality.
Oh my god.
And I think it's just because there is the whole kind of torture attack thing. It is a lot more violent than anything that I'd played before, and I don't know, it's a strange one, but I love it, and I will continue to say I love it.
That's very beautiful, Joe, that finishing thing.
Oh, of course. I mean, pretty much you can see a progression in terms of Kamiya's games, of elements that he's picked up as he's gone along. It's why I will always say that the Wonderful 101, at present anyway, is the culmination of every single other game that Kamiya has ever directed. Because you'll get elements of Resident Evil 2, you'll get elements of Devil May Cry, you'll get elements of Beautiful Joe, you'll get elements of Okami, and then obviously once you get to Beautiful Joe you've got elements of Bayonetta in there as well. And so it's just a really nice thing of sort of iteration, but there's always something majorly different going on.
We were going to do Beautiful Joe this year, but I think it was just a bit too much for you at present, right? So we did this instead.
Yes, so I wanted to do Beautiful Joe. I got it and I played it, but it's really difficult. Like, really difficult. I had to play it on the easy mode because I'm just really bad at it. And, yeah, it was just one of those things where it's just like, you know what, I'm not comfortable doing a playthrough of this because it deserves someone to do it better, and I'm not that person. I can do Bayonetta perfectly well, but Beautiful Joe is just not quite... I'm not that good at it, so it's one of those things.
One day. So where exactly is Rodan from? Paradiso, Hell, somewhere in between?
Well, there's a lot of mystery surrounding the origins of Rodan. It's something that you can find out if you have a little bit of a root around in some of the mysterious elements of Bayonetta. And it's something that I will talk about when we get later down the line, because it's something that we're not going to cover, but I will mention.
It's weird how they have a mix of cutscenes. Like, you have almost the action comic sort of thing, and then we have the proper, fully animated ones like this.
Yes, so I mean the whole thing with that is, just to point out, this is a sequence which has a little ad-lib in it that came from the motion capture session. Basically, Enzo's going to accidentally remove the wheel from the car and go, and then stick it back in. And that came from the... There we go! That came from the mocap session. So, effectively, I think what they planned to do was obviously... Platinum Games were pretty early on in their career as a company at this point. They'd only released, I think it was Infinite Space and Mad World at this point in the day. So they weren't very far into their whole spiel. And this game was the second in their deal with Sega. It was a 3-game deal, which was then extended to a 4-game deal. So, obviously, they needed to try and find a way to keep costs down. And so, rather than mocapping and doing every single cutscene, which would have been ridiculous, they decided, well, we'll decide between which ones need to be action scenes and which ones just need to be kind of purely plot related.
Yeah.
And so you have this still film reel look. Hilariously, those were meant to save time. They actually ended up taking more time than they expected. And that's because they had to kind of figure out what bits they needed to animate, what bits they didn't need to animate, and get that all working. But I think it worked out very well, and it's a nice element of style that really works for the game, I feel.
After jewels instead of cash, just like a girl.
Alright, an echidna, you know, a red spiny one with big fists.
And then Bayonetta's just like, hey, not going to be having any of that talk, matey.
Oh, someone bugged Enzo. Interesting.
Yes, they did indeed, and Bayonetta is far too clever for them.
I was actually just keeping an eye out in the background to see if there was any Platinum Games cameos on the signs.
Oh, there's loads. I mean, there was a turn off for Movie Land. I believe there's a sign for Platinum Coffee.
Nice.
There are so many little references in Bayonetta. I mean, you would have heard at the start of this very cutscene the song, I believe it's Magical Sound Shower from, I think it's Outrun. And it's like the original song, and it's brilliant.
What's the deal with the sigil that she always flies through?
It's effectively a magic circle, and that allows her to move from the human world into Purgatorio, which is where we are right now, effectively.
Oh my god, stop it, come here, you crazy madman with your stupid, sick visuals.
Oh, it's only going to get better from here.
This woman's had like 5 intros already, just flash up the name card already.
Oh, you're not going to be getting a name for this lady for quite a while.
Well, I mean, if you were paying attention, you could have heard it in the intro cutscene, but
That's
we'll
true.
keep it a secret for now, I guess.
Well, I mean, Bayonetta has a little bit of amnesia, shall we say. She doesn't remember much of her past.
Ah, that old chestnut.
Yes.
Having a chat during witch time, nice.
They're witches, they can get away with this.
Wow, a boss fight already?
No, this isn't a boss fight, this is teaching us about torture attacks. So, basically, if you fill up your magic bar, which is those pearls beneath the health bar in the top left,
Right.
then you are able to pull off a torture attack, which is a sort of deadly way of killing off your enemies, and you get awesome little achievements like that. Witch. And basically it's a way of kind of getting some decent points, also a way of more quickly killing off enemies if you need to kind of get them out of the way quickly.
Oh.
The other cool thing is that if you kill an enemy with a torture attack, then they are going to drop their weapon, and you'll be able to use that against the other angels.
Oh, I like that.
So there's a lot of stuff around it.
Yeah, there's a lot of choice.
Oh yeah, and it's really cool because you can increase the amount of magic you get by kind of keeping your combo going. Shooting tends to help. If you get hit, you lose a few pips of magic. And hey, pure platinum!
Hey.
Booyah! So it's a nice kind of balance of risk and reward for being able to pull off torture attacks.
I'm noticing Red Woman's guns seem very similar to the ones that Bayo uses. They almost did the fusion dance there, by the way.
They almost did. That's probably a little bit of a mini reference in some form or another.
Uh-huh. God damn it. Just about to offer you a cup of tea and everything.
I know, it's just like, why couldn't... Oh, there's the Platinum Coffee sign.
There it is.
But yes, it's just that whole thing of, you know, you could have just stayed, we could have figured out some things, you could have told us who you were. Would have been nice, would have had a lovely time.
Ah, well. Is the license plate that says Ed and Edna a reference to anything?
So Ed and Edna are the names of Enzo's kids, actually.
Aw.
The ones that were baking him a fucking birthday cake.
A fucking birthday cake.
Cute little fuckers, I'll tell you what. But yes, here we are in the gates of hell, Rodan's bar, and we get the beautiful Brenda Lee version of Fly Me to the Moon, which is just gorgeous.
Aw. I don't know what it is about, like, modernising classic songs, but Bayo does it wonderfully.
Oh, definitely. It's because it appreciates the original song, and then also does its own twist on the original song, and so it merges them together and it just works beautifully. But here's our little lesson on metaphysics and the Trinity of Realities.
Okay, I'm listening.
So, you've got the human world, Paradiso, Inferno, and Purgatorio, which make up the Trinity of Realities. Purgatorio is the realm in between the three worlds.
Aha.
And basically, they're normally quite separate, bar Purgatorio, but at present, something's causing them to blend a little bit more than they perhaps would do otherwise.
I can't be doing with that.
Like Mother Goose, heaven and hell are gonna go straight for each other's throats.
You're going to be caught right in the middle.
Quite right.
Heaven and hell can tear each other to pieces for all I care. I've got my own problems to worry about.
Something's up.
So is the voice actor for Bayo actually English, or is she just affecting an accent?
I'm not quite sure, to be honest. Let me have another double check.
Memories calling you out.
Because I think she is... Oh, so she is British.
Okay.
But I think she's lived in America for a while, I believe. She was born in West London. But obviously the voice that she does is very much more a strong idea of a British accent, because
Oh my god, yeah.
it's basically how potentially a British person would maybe speak after many years living in America.
Here we go. The tools, the arsenal.
Yes, it's Quipping Scarborough Fair, which are the names of her guns, and I've actually got one of the Scarborough Fair guns in my room. It's the thing that came with the game when I got it, and oh, it's amazing.
I don't know where they came up with the idea to have her have guns on her feet, but yeah, I think it just works, especially if you watch the film Equilibrium with the gun carter and whatnot.
I don't think I've ever watched that film, but the thing is, it's ridiculous, but it makes sense, because it can just like, well, she uses magic to fire the guns on her feet. That makes sense, and it just means that you then have a greater level of options in terms of how you proceed, because you can equip weapons to your feet and have them in your hand, so you can mix and match as you go, and that increases the number of combos you'll be able to perform, and it's just really awesome.
Everyone always walks that when I'm doing a spiel. No respect.
Well, of course, but it's going on Enzo's tab, so that's fine.
Oh god almighty. Gotta fix the car and I've gotta pay for Bayo's drinks and whatnot. Ugh, it never ends.
Deadbeat motherfucker.
It's funny because he's fat. Oh lordy lordy.
But yes, that is the end of the prologue, and my beautiful Platinum Award.
Do they make statues of Bayo like that?
No, but I wish they did. I would quite happily have a Platinum Award sitting in my room. That would be glorious.
It would indeed. Alright, so the upload schedule for Bayonetta. We're going to do 3 to 4 parts a week. One on Monday, one on Tuesday, one on Wednesday, one on Thursday. Usually not one on Friday unless otherwise stays, so we'll put something else there. But what the hell is this? Some kind of loading minigame?
And this is Angel Attack. You play it at the end of every single chapter, and it's just a way of getting some extra halos, which you can then use to purchase things in the Gates of Hell shop.
Oh, right.
And you can also get some items if you need them, but if you're going for the Platinum rankings, you ain't getting anything from here, let's put it that way, because you're not going to be able to use them.
Fair enough, right?
And I will get better at this as we go along, it's just I wasn't used to it after so long.
Richie, so long as you're bringing in the platinums and the actual gameplay, I could give less of a devil's toss what you do in this minigame, my friend. Alright guys, that'll do for part 1 of Bayonetta. See you next time. Bye bye.